Hi you guys, happy Friday. My name is Marcy Webb and I am the Sexual Abuse Program Supervisor with Access. And I'm here today in this quarantine of 2020 in my remote office, which is actually an upstairs closet. And I just wanted to highlight that last month we honored Sexual Assault Awareness Month, which I also like to think of as Sexual Assault Action Month. And one of the commitments that I always reaffirm to myself and in general is how important it is to speak out of the societal crisis of sex abuse and to continue to provide education and context so that people have the words and accurate information to be able to have conversations with each other. Because we have to. Because sexual abuse is so incredibly prevalent in our society. So today, I'm very excited. I wanted to do a live to talk a little bit about sexual abuse offenders and some things that I know about sex abuse that I want everybody to understand. First, the people who perpetrate sexually abusive behavior are an extremely diverse group of people who engage at differing frequencies for a variety of reasons, and they present with differing risks for future sexually abusive behavior. Basically, there's not one specific profile or type of person who commits sexual abuse, but there are some concepts that I think are important for you to understand about perpetrators. First, let's talk about adults. I want you to know that adults who perpetrate typically have a pre-existing relationship with the people that they victimize. Research has consistently found that the majority of sexual violence against children is perpetrated by someone known or in a position of trust to the child, and is usually achieved through a very complex grooming process of that child and also of the loved ones surrounding that child. Adults have a slightly higher likelihood of being sexually assaulted by a stranger, but again, the majority of sex abuse against adults is also perpetrated by somebody known to the victim. Often we see this person as either being an acquaintance or an intimate partner or spouse. Now let me highlight adolescents. Adolescents who are adjudicated for sexual crimes are more likely than adult sex offenders to offend in groups and at schools, and to have male victims and to have younger victims. However, the majority of sex crimes all across the board occur within the residence of either the perpetrator or the victim, and this fact is true for adolescents as well. Sibling sexual abuse is something that I want to highlight here. Sexual abuse among siblings is more common than most people have any idea. And children are actually more likely to be sexually abused by their siblings than they are by their parents. I want you to understand that adolescents who engage in sexually abusive behavior are not mini adults. And there are a lot of studies that now exist that show that the majority of these youth do not continue to sexually offend, nor are they on a lifetime path for repeat offending, which is really important for all of us to understand. Just as adults present with differing motivations and factors that require individualized interventions, so do adolescents. As far as children go, I want to highlight that children under the age of 12 who cause harm sexually, we identify as having atypical sexual behavior linguistically, and we don't identify them as having sexually abusive behavior. This is due to their young age, their developmental levels, and continual changes that occur throughout a person's childhood. Children may develop these behaviors for a variety of very complex reasons. These may include sexual reactivity, abuse, neglect, exposure to sexualized adults or media, as well as family violence. So that is a little bit about who offends and the complexity. Much of what I just explained is misunderstood by many people because of societal myths, misconceptions, misinformation. Stepping back from talking about sexual offenders and looking at the issue more broadly, what I see in our society is a very confusing narrative in our media and in our schools. And I just want to highlight today how each of you can respond and what you can do to support survivors of sexual violence. Here's my highlight. If a person tells you that they were sexually assaulted, believe them. Period. Please believe them. What I have learned through all my years in this field is that people, both grown-ups and children, go on to have better health outcomes and more forward trajectory healing processes if they were unconditionally believed when they told someone. It's that simple. My dream for this community and all of our communities is that they be filled with people who are ambassadors of victims and who believe them and wrap them in support. If you or someone you love need a confidential person to speak with about questions related to sexual abuse, please reach out. Access is here, and we're excited to provide support and information. Thank you for taking a few minutes of your day to spend with me and for being an advocate for survivors. I hope you all have a lovely rainy weekend. Thank you. Take care.